When you cross the threshold of 40 as a single individual, society begins to look at you through a lens of quiet suspicion. A youth-obsessed, family-centric culture has a very rigid script for the human timeline. You grow up, you find a partner, you accumulate a mortgage, and you settle down. When you choose to deviate from this script, the world assumes there is a missing puzzle piece. They assume you are lonely, broken, or left behind. But through the lens of human behavior psychology, being single after 40 and feeling a deep reluctance to start a family is rarely about being broken. In fact, it is often a highly calculated, subconscious defense mechanism engineered by a mature operating system. In your 20s, you entered relationships with a blank slate of fluid optimism. You were willing to bend, to compromise your identity, and to tolerate chaotic emotional weather because you had time to burn. But after 40, your behavioral patterns have solidified. You have built a sanctuary of autonomy. You have a routine, financial independence, and a level of peace that you fought blood and tears to achieve. And suddenly, the idea of letting another human being into your sovereign territory, with their baggage, their chaos and their demands, doesn't look like a romance. It looks like a high-risk gamble. Most people mistake this reluctance for a fear of commitment, but behavioral science reveals a much deeper psychological reality. In this video, we will dissect the cold, hard human behavior psychology of the post-40 single mind. We will unmask the hidden neurological drivers that make you protect your solitude, and explore the exact mindset shift required to turn your single status from a societal stigma into your ultimate psychological fortress. Welcome back to the Laboratory of the Mind. Chapter 1. The Neurological Value of Autonomy. To decode why mature individuals become intensely reluctant to marry or start a family, we must examine a core principle of human behavior psychology known as loss aversion. The human brain is evolutionarily wired to protect what it has already secured. In the first half of life, you had very little to lose, so your tolerance for risk was exceptionally high. But by the time you reach 40, you have accumulated precious emotional and physical assets. You have cultivated a quiet home, predictable emotional baseline, and complete control over your time. When you look at the prospect of modern marriage or dating at this stage, your brain's amygdala performs a brutal cost-benefit analysis. It calculates the risk of losing your autonomy. It realizes that a bad relationship after 40 doesn't just break your heart. It threatens your peace, disrupts your focus, and drains your most valuable, non-renewable asset, your remaining time. This is why you experience that sudden wave of hesitation or reluctance when a connection gets too serious. It is not that you are incapable of love. It is that your crystallized intelligence understands the sheer weight of codependency. Your brain has learned from decades of pattern recognition that human behavior is volatile, and it chooses to prioritize the certainty of peace over the illusion of romance. Solitude ceases to be a waiting room. It becomes a premium asset you refuse to discount for anyone. Chapter 2. Breaking the collective illusion. One of the greatest psychological burdens of the single mature mind is the weight of collective projection. Human behavior is deeply tribal. The tribe demands conformity because your divergence threatens their choices. When people ask you, "Why are you still single?" or "Aren't you afraid of growing old alone?" they are not asking out of empathy. Subconsciously, they are projecting their own fears of isolation onto you. But true personal growth after 40 requires you to develop an absolute immunity to this social signaling. The ancient Stoics mastered the art of separating the signal from the noise. Epictetus taught that we are disturbed not by things, but by the principles and notions which we form concerning things. The notion that a life without a spouse or children is an incomplete life is a collective social construct a cultural illusion designed to maintain social predictability. When you master the human behavior, psychology of your own mind, you realize that intimacy without sovereignty is a trap. But sovereignty with intentional solitude is a superpower. You stop viewing your singlehood as a temporary status that needs fixing, and you start viewing it as a deliberate choice of self-ownership. You fire the external audience that demands you play a role you don't want. You realize that the only person you need to justify your lifestyle to is the one staring back at you in the mirror. Chapter 3. The Sovereign Intentionality. There is a massive behavioral difference between passive isolation and sovereign solitude. Passive isolation is driven by fear, the fear of rejection, the anxiety of vulnerability, and the scars of past wounds. If you are staying single simply because you are terrified of getting hurt, you are still a prisoner of your past. Your behavior is still being dictated by trauma. But a true success mindset at this stage of life requires sovereign solitude. This is the strategy of brutal subtraction applied to your emotional ecosystem. Sovereign solitude means you choose to be alone because your standards for entry into your life have become absolute. You are no longer desperate for validation, so you no longer accept low-value interactions. You don't need a partner to complete your identity, to pay your bills, or to prove your worth to society. When you eliminate the desperation to couple up, you unlock a terrifyingly powerful level of freedom. You can focus your entire cognitive bandwidth onto your legacy, your deep creative projects, your financial empire, and your mental clarity. If someone is to enter your life, they cannot just bring romance. They must bring a peace that rivals the silence you have cultivated. If they cannot elevate your fortress, you simply keep the gates closed, not out of bitterness, but out of supreme self-respect. If you are navigating the world over 40, single, and feeling a profound reluctance to bend to societal expectations of family and marriage, understand this: you are not late, and you are not broken. The laws of human behavior psychology indicate that you have reached a rare peak of individual maturity. You have survived the social programming of your youth. Your nervous system is no longer easily tricked by the chemical rush of temporary infatuation. You possess a lethal combination of raw self-reliance, emotional stability, and the absolute freedom to write your own script. This is your quiet rebellion. You do not need a conventional family structure to leave a lasting legacy. You do not need the approval of a shallow world to validate your existence. You are the architect and the king of your internal territory. If this deep dive into human behavior psychology validated your path of sovereignty today, leave a comment below with the declaration, "My peace is my power." Subscribe to the Stoic Mindset Lab for your ongoing mental conditioning. Protect your focus, elevate your depth, and stay stoic.